Evet, dear Ofer, please join us. Think like a bad guy. Please tell us how we can think like a bad guy.
Start being a bad guy. Okay. Since I have 15 minutes, and since I want to make sure that you get something of those 15 minutes, and since I have to say a few things about HP, let's start. I'll try to say a few words about HP and then talk to you about bad guys. Okay. So let's start with the fact that HP is a security company. For many of you, HP sells printers, notebooks. We do have around 5,000 security experts in HP worldwide. We are one of the largest security software companies around there. And we have a rather large portfolio of security products, which I'll mention in the following slide. Okay? This is, by the way, a good reason for me not to talk about any of our products, because there are just too many of those. So, one thing we are proud of is that we also have significant security research. And this research spans beyond just the security business unit within HP. We do use the fact that we are part of a very large company that provides a lot of services. We actually just released a research about the cost of cybercrime. So how much you actually lose because of incidents. Some of our findings, we talked with around 200 companies out there, and we found that the percentage of companies successfully hacked was 100%. And actually we found out that today there is more than one successful hack on each company per week. So the cost is staggering. In the rest of this presentation, I'll try to talk with you about how we at HP think that we can win this fight. Now, getting back into what you just heard in the first presentation, what I learned, if you try to summarize it, was in 5 years, we'll all retire. The cyborgs will replace us. We can go home and be with the families. Wasn't that the message? So that's the good news. The bad news is that at least until then, it's all about us. It's about us being smart. It's about our intelligence. As far as we would like, using automated tools, any automated tools, would be always just part of the solution. Okay? It's not just about FireEye. We, as HP, have a lot of automated tools, controls that you put there in order to protect your security. So we have intrusion prevention systems. We have next generation firewalls from Tipping Point. We have cloud protection systems from Atala. We have data protection systems and encryption systems from Voltage. So we have a lot of security products that are very, very good at protecting your organization. Without a smart guy, without security intelligence, without someone proactively monitoring and managing and thinking about those systems, they will be breached. Think about it like physical security. Okay? You put a fence, you put mines, you want to protect yourself from the outside world. If nobody is watching them, if they're just there, they are breachable. Somebody will overtake them. Somebody will cross any fence, any door. Okay? So beyond putting security controls in place, you also need, in the center, okay, a central intelligence system to protect you from, to help manage and monitor those protection systems. Okay? That's what I do in life. I try to make those systems work. In my day-to-day job, I'm the HP ArcSight Director of Products for EMEA. Director of Products means I'm a techie, so I don't sell things. Erdem Mengesh, who sits there somewhere in the back, is our salesperson for Turkey. He's the guy to talk with about our wonderful products. What I try to do is to make sure that all those products actually work and protect you. And in this presentation, I'll focus on the central point, okay? In the middle, on the security intelligence part. Security intelligence part is where you get in, where our systems help you succeed in managing your security environment. Now, when we look at the security intelligence space, the state of the art for many years was SIEM, Security Information Event Management, which was about having a single pane of glass, one window to look into the status of your security, collect events, correlate them in order to detect attacks. Okay? In recent years, we hear a lot about something called analytics. And I want in this discussion to say a word about this analytics and how it helps us move and think a bit more like the bad guys do in order to make sure that we are protecting our systems. Okay. Now, the way I like to picture it is this. You need the infrastructure. You need to think like a good guy as part of the organization. You need to manage your security. That's where you use a SIEM product for. Okay? You need to collect all the information, analyze it, and make sure it's there and triggers alerts when there are attacks. But in addition to that, we need to start thinking like the bad guy and follow the attack lifecycle that bad guys are using. And this attack lifecycle has several important stops in it. Okay? First of all, the bad guys would explore your organization. They'll use intelligence. Intelligence not in the sense of being smart, intelligence in the military sense. Okay? Finding out information about you. It's interesting that this word has two meanings, intelligence, in English at least. Intelligence is about being smart, and intelligence is about getting information about. Both are relevant here, okay? The bad guys are smart, and the bad guys are trying to get information about us, and we have to be the same, and I'll talk a bit about how to do that, okay? But that's not enough, okay? The bad guys that go and penetrate the organization, they get in, then they research the organization from the inside using malware, for example, then they get data out, okay? In each one of those stations, in each one of those elements of the circle, okay, we need a detection, a software the activity, okay, and protects. It might be an IPS for protecting your inbound, your organization from inbound attacks. And it might be a system to prevent exfiltration. Exfiltration means data leaking out. Okay? But if none of those is monitored by a central system, won't know about it. And a statement that caught my ear in the previous presentation was that it takes, how much was it, 200 days? 209. Okay. So in reality, there are two steps to that. First of all, a system needs to detect the attack, and then somebody has to notice that. And in many cases, the second part is the part missing. You have so many alerts, what to do with them. Okay. So in order to manage that, we need to tackle the lower part about collecting, managing the information, and then we need to move further and think like the bad guy, and I'll show you a bit about the options to do that. So, first and foremost, pretty simple. In the past, our IT systems were very much like IT systems, big screens, a lot of data, we need to monitor them, alerts, okay? Part of being smart is working the way we're used to in real life. And the people we hire, and keep in mind that talent is the hardest thing today, more and more are used to using systems, but they're not IT systems. So one thing which is very simple, but I want to start with it before I get into complex stuff, is search. One thing that you really want to make sure that is available is that when someone has to look for information about a hack, to manage an incident, to react to an alert, or just to try to see if there's something is going on, you can just go to a Google-like field and search. Sounds very trivial, but it's a very important step, because when you hire someone who's still not experienced, you want to make him the security expert, okay? You look for this search box. So any security intelligence system has to start where people start today, very similar to Google. Generally speaking, the systems that we use have to be more consumer-like today in order to have more people be able to use them, because our talent is what blocks us from doing security. But that's a start. Beyond that, we want to get to a point where we work together with smarter systems in order to make sure that we detect breaches. And that's where the term analytics is used a lot. Analytics is, let's have smart systems. What I want to tell you today is, getting back to intelligence, is that the bad guys, they don't run some magical analytics program that tells them where to attack and how. That doesn't happen. They do a lot of footwork. They work hard. They have people sitting and looking for specific targets in order to take them. They write specific codes for the specific targets. That's what the term advanced persistent threat stands for. So we can't skip that. So when we hear the term analytics, and we think about, let's have some magic software solve things for us, we need this magic software to be just a start. We need this software to present information to us that will be useful for the real smart guys, because the cyborgs are not here yet, to detect and manage the attacks. And what we did at HP ArcSight is we started building analytics solutions with the thought that they should serve people. No magic system that will alert on an attack, because it wouldn't work. And we also decided to focus on areas where we think that this expert and machine interaction really works, where, in other words, analytics really work. Okay? The areas we started looking into are first user analytics, user behavior analytics, which is what this slide is about, and then network behavior analytics, which I'll discuss in the next slide. User behavior analytics, in my mind, is probably the area where analytics in general works the best. Why? It's a bit disappointing, but because it's a more limited problem than just detecting attacks. User behavioral analytics is usually about the insider threat, is about detecting employees that are doing the bad stuff, or employees of which the account was hacked, so somebody's doing bad stuff for them. And since we know our employees, we know what they should do, doing analytics on that is usually useful and produce real results. So that's why we decided to start focusing on analytics in this respect. And when we do user behavior analytics, it has two sides to it. One side is let the machine try to figure out things, but the output of that is usually not this person hacked us. Because analytics is not about that. What you get from analytics is a risk score, or a behavioral pattern with a peak at the end. There needs to be a human looking at that, saying, this is a risky user. Let's look into why this risky user is doing that. Maybe he's bad, maybe he's good, and there's just a new project and he has to work nights. Maybe it's just his work that makes him do that. The next product that we released recently is about network analytics, focusing on DNS data. The concept is the same. We'll provide you with alerts on real attacks, but we'll also provide you with very good visualization in order for the expert, and you are the expert, in order to try to analyze them and detect if something is going wrong, if you need to go somewhere in order to fix things. And lastly, going back to intelligence beyond analytics, threat intelligence is also so very important. So we are working hard to make a lot of what we do internally in our research organization available to you through a product called Threat Central, which is about getting specific targeted intelligence for your own organization by our experts, rather than just a huge list of back stuff, and discussing it with our experts. So empowering you to be smarter about threat intelligence. So to sum up, what I wanted to say in this discussion is the bad guys are intelligent. They work. They don't just run automated software. And if they run automated software, that's not a real risk. And in order to mitigate their attacks, we need to be smart. We can't wait for the cyborgs in 5 or 10 years and go home. We need to be smart now. In order to be smart now, we need security intelligence tools. And those tools are not the magic trick tools that will just detect and block attacks. Those are important to start with. But above that, the thing that we found out saves the most money on security incidents is security intelligence. The tools that will help you do a better job in managing and identifying attacks. So the tools that combine, smartness by the computer and us being smart, because we'll have to continue being smart. So thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Evet, günün yine heyecanlı anlarından birine geldik.
Do we have time for questions or?
Unfortunately, we don't have time for that. I'm really sorry.
If you have any questions, I'll be
Please.
around later on.